There is a saying, silence is sometimes the strongest answer. In life, words are not always the sharpest weapon, and sometimes, silence is the highest form of wisdom and composure. Wise individuals understand that there are moments when silence is not defeat, but a strategy, an art that helps them avoid trouble, maintain peace, and even achieve greater things. Think about the times you've found yourself unintentionally caught in pointless arguments, gossip-filled conversations, or moments when you're so angry that you want to say everything. But did it really help you? Or did it just make things worse? In today's video, we will explore 7 important moments when you should choose silence, according to the thinking of wise individuals and Stoic philosophy. Let's listen and reflect to apply this art in our own lives. Time 1, when you hear others speaking ill of someone. In life, everyone has at least once found themselves in this situation. You're sitting with a group of people, and suddenly the conversation turns to talking bad about someone. It could be a colleague, a friend, or even a family member. Unkind words, criticisms, and even distorted truths begin to be spun. What will you do? Join in on the gossip? It might give you some temporary satisfaction, but can you be sure those same people won't do the same behind your back? Try to defend the person being talked about. If you intervene, you could end up getting dragged into a negative debate that may not change anything. Or, you could choose silence. Wise people never allow themselves to be caught up in the whirlpool of gossip. They understand that joining in on gossip only drags them into unnecessary troubles, and they might even become the target in the future. Remember, silence doesn't mean agreement, it demonstrates wisdom and preserves your dignity. When you don't contribute to spreading rumors, you're also protecting yourself from undeserved gossip. For example, if a colleague is complaining about the boss, criticizing their way of working, and you join in, a few days later, when the boss hears about it, who will bear the consequences? If you choose silence, you not only avoid trouble but also show maturity and wisdom. A wise person never wastes words on meaningless things. Instead of engaging in gossip, focus on things that matter, where your words can truly make a difference. And that's just one of the moments when you should choose silence. Stay tuned to explore the remaining moments. Time 2, when you don't fully understand the issue. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you hastily gave your opinion on something, only to later realize you were completely wrong? Humans tend to react instantly to what they hear, especially when the subject involves important issues or ones that affect them personally. However, speaking up without fully understanding the issue can lead to misunderstandings, harming both yourself and others involved. Imagine this: in an important meeting, your boss is presenting a new business strategy. You hear just a few points and immediately speak out, saying the plan isn't feasible. But later, as the boss continues to explain the detailed implementation steps, you realize that you missed a crucial point. What happens next? You might be judged as hasty and careless. Others might lose confidence in your judgment. And most importantly, you'll feel embarrassed by your lack of consideration. Wise people understand that not every moment requires an immediate opinion. Instead of rushing to give your opinion when you don't have all the information, silence is a smart choice. It allows you to take time to think carefully. Listen more attentively to understand the issue fully. Avoid unnecessary mistakes. Think about a social media argument. Someone posts an accusation against someone, and hundreds of people rush to comment and criticize, even though no one truly knows the full story. Then, a few days later, the truth is revealed: it was all a misunderstanding. Those who hastily judged find themselves in an awkward position, even having to delete their comments or apologize. In such situations, if you stay silent to observe and gather all the information before speaking, you avoid becoming part of a thoughtless crowd. There's a great saying: listen more than you speak, because that's why we have two ears but only one mouth. What's the lesson here? Train yourself to practice silence when you don't fully understand the issue. When you have enough information, your words will be more valuable, and others will respect you more. So, what other moments is silence the most powerful weapon? Stay tuned to find out. Time 3, when you're angry. Have you ever said something harsh in a moment of anger, only to regret it later because you couldn't take it back? Anger is like a fire. When you let it flare up, your words can become like flames, burning everything in their path: friendships, love, respect, and even your own dignity. Words spoken in anger can deeply hurt others and break relationships that you've worked hard to build. Imagine a familiar situation: you and a loved one, perhaps your spouse, parents, or a close friend, are arguing about something. Emotions run high, and everyone wants to be right. In a moment of losing control, you blurt out something hurtful: "I never really trusted you. You always think about yourself. I regret being with you." In that moment, you may feel like you've won the argument. But when the anger subsides, what are the consequences? The other person is deeply hurt, and may remember your words forever. The relationship is no longer the same, no matter how many times you apologize. You blame yourself for not controlling your emotions. Wise people understand that when you're angry, the best thing to do is remain silent. Remember, silence doesn't mean you're defeated, it means you're in control of yourself. Silence gives you time to cool down emotionally. Think more deeply about the issue. Avoid saying things that might hurt others. Think of great leaders and masters of emotional control like Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor of Rome. He once said, "You have the power to control your thoughts. Focus on that and don't let anger control you." When criticized or angry, he never responded immediately. Instead, he stepped back, observed, reflected, and only spoke when he was truly calm. Here's another story: a famous martial artist was once challenged by someone who continuously insulted him to provoke a response. But instead of reacting, he remained silent. When his student asked why, he smiled and said, "If someone gives you a gift and you don't accept it, whose gift is it? The person who gave it." Well, anger is the same. If you don't accept it, it still belongs to the person who gave it. This is the art of mastering emotions. When you stay silent in the face of anger, you're refusing to let it control you. Next time you feel angry, try pausing and taking deep breaths. Staying silent for a few minutes, even a few hours if necessary. Speaking only when you're truly calm. You'll find that in many situations, silence not only helps you avoid hurting others but also helps you maintain respect and your own composure. So, what other moments are there when silence is the wisest choice? Stay tuned to find out. Time 4, when the other person is stubborn and unyielding. Sometimes, you encounter people who, when you face them, you might feel like you're banging your head against a wall. They have rigid viewpoints, stubbornly holding onto their beliefs, no matter how reasonable the arguments are or how convincing the evidence and discussions are. You may see them always saying, "I disagree," without any thought or analysis. In such situations, arguing with someone who isn't willing to listen will only waste your time, create unnecessary tension, and potentially damage the relationship. You may feel like you're right, but the other person shows no signs of changing. So, should you continue the debate? Wise people realize that sometimes silence is the best choice. Silence is not surrender, but a way to stay calm, maintain harmony, and avoid entering a pointless battle. When you face someone who is too stubborn, an argument will not change anything, and it might only intensify the confrontation. But silence allows you to maintain your stance without wasting energy on a futile argument. Imagine you and a close friend are debating a simple matter, whether to invest in stocks. You provide reasons why you trust a particular investment strategy, but your friend insists that all stocks are a gamble, nothing is certain. You try to explain with data, figures, and examples of successful people, but they only respond with, "I don't think so." At this point, continuing to argue only increases the tension. Sometimes, the best way is to step back and remain silent, rather than trying to persuade someone who doesn't want to listen. Silence helps you avoid an unwinnable fight and still maintain respect for your friend without adding more strain to your relationship. Another example could be when discussing a work decision with a colleague. You suggest ideas for reorganizing a department, but the other person continuously rejects everything you say without listening. Instead of continuing to argue, you realize they can't change their viewpoint right now. In this case, silence is the best way to preserve your professional relationship and avoid unnecessary tension. When you deal with a stubborn person, remember, pointless arguments not only waste time but also increase tension, making the relationship worse. Silence allows you to hold your ground without harming yourself or others. Sometimes, silence can be the highest form of wisdom, allowing you to maintain harmony and avoid unnecessary bickering. You don't always need to win a debate. Sometimes, real victory is knowing when to listen, when to stay silent, and when to continue the conversation after everyone has calmed down. So, what other moments can silence help you avoid unnecessary troubles? Keep watching to discover more. Time 5, when the other person doesn't need advice. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone shares a problem with you, and you feel compelled to speak up and give advice right away? You might think, "I have to help them, I know how to solve this problem." But sometimes, the other person doesn't actually need advice. They just need someone to listen, someone who can understand their feelings without judgment. In those moments, silence is the greatest gift you can offer them. This story might sound familiar. You're talking with a close friend who just went through a painful breakup, and you know you can offer some helpful advice. You might say, "Of course, you'll find someone better. Just do what you love, everything will be fine. Don't worry, time will heal all wounds." However, sometimes those words of advice may not be what the person needs to hear at that moment. They don't want someone telling them what to do, they just want to share their emotions without feeling judged. They need someone who can feel their pain and let them process it. In such cases, silence is the best way to show understanding and maintain a good relationship. For example, imagine a friend who just lost their job and is feeling down. They start sharing their struggles in work and life. In this situation, if you immediately offer advice like, "Don't worry, you'll find a better job, just start by updating your resume. That company wasn't worth your time anyway." You may think you're helping, but you might overlook their emotions at that moment. They don't need motivational speeches or advice right now. They just need someone to listen, someone who can understand their disappointment without pushing a solution onto them. Actually, silence in this case is the greatest support you can give them. Another example is when a family member is dealing with a complex family issue, such as conflicts between household members. They might share their frustrations and difficulties with you. In this case, if you rush to offer advice on how to solve the situation, they might feel unheard or even pressured to act a certain way. Instead, just being there, listening, and not judging can relieve them much more. Not everyone always needs advice. Sometimes, they just need someone to be there, someone who can listen to them sincerely. Silence at the right time is the best way to show empathy and help the other person feel respected. By listening without judgment, you can help them find their own solutions, or at least help them feel better after sharing. Maintaining good relationships doesn't always require offering solutions. Sometimes, just being present and listening is all they need. Next time when someone shares their problem with you, take a moment to ask yourself, do they really want my advice, or do they just need someone to listen? When you understand this, you'll know when to speak and when to stay silent to better understand the other person. So, what other moments can silence be a great source of wisdom? Stay tuned for more insightful lessons in the next video. Time 6, when words add no value. Have you ever realized that speaking more isn't always a sign of intelligence or understanding? On the contrary, sometimes talking too much only diminishes the value of your words and makes others feel exhausted, even lose respect for you. In these situations, silence is a wise strategy that helps you make a stronger impact while maintaining your dignity. You may have encountered people who love to talk and share their opinions about everything from big issues like politics and economics to small personal preferences or the way others work. But do those words actually add value to the conversation? In fact, talking too much without thoughtful consideration only reduces understanding and can annoy the listener, especially in situations where all you need to do is listen or when the issue doesn't require an immediate solution. In these moments, silence is the perfect choice. Imagine you're in an important meeting with colleagues, and you're the only one constantly offering opinions, even when what you're saying has already been presented or doesn't add much value to the situation. You may think you need to demonstrate your knowledge, but in reality, you could be wasting everyone's time and making the meeting less productive. In this case, silence is the best approach. You can step back, listen, and observe others, only speaking up when you truly have a valuable new idea or perspective. Wise people understand that not everything needs to be said, and sometimes, silence can create a much stronger influence. Another example is in social conversations. You may be in a group of friends where they're sharing fresh experiences in life. You might feel compelled to contribute, but sometimes, silence and listening can make you more respected. Those who listen often stand out for their understanding, respect, and ability to create space for others to share. The benefits of silence in these situations. Helps maintain dignity. When you know when to stay silent, you won't fall into the trap of talking too much, only to regret your words later. You'll be appreciated for your composure and self-control. Creates a stronger impact. When you don't talk too much, every word you say carries weight and is given more attention. Sometimes, a few thoughtful words can have a much bigger impact than long-winded, unimportant chatter. Keeps inner peace. Speaking a lot isn't always a sign of intelligence. In reality, when you feel like you have nothing valuable to add, silence will help you avoid disrupting the atmosphere and keep your mind at ease. Talking too much doesn't equate to intelligence. When you feel that your words don't add any value, don't hesitate to remain silent. Sometimes, a few impactful words can leave a stronger impression than excessive talking. Wise individuals know when to speak and when to remain silent. Choosing the right moment to stay quiet not only helps preserve your dignity but also maintains your peace of mind without getting caught up in meaningless conversations. Silence is a powerful strategy. Choosing silence at the right time not only helps you avoid unnecessary situations but also draws others' attention and earns you respect. Next time you feel like adding another comment in a conversation, ask yourself, does this really add value? If not, don't hesitate to choose silence, because sometimes, silence speaks volumes. So, what other moments could silence be a wise strategy? Keep watching to explore the next valuable lessons. Time 7, when you're offended or misunderstood. In life, you can't avoid moments when you feel offended, misunderstood, or unfairly criticized. The feeling can be really unpleasant, and you might instantly feel anger rising, wanting to react immediately to defend yourself or respond to the insult. However, reacting right away in such situations can only make things worse and may cause you to lose composure, potentially leading to unwanted consequences. Silence, in these moments, is a wise choice and can demonstrate your maturity and calmness. Imagine you just received a message from a colleague criticizing the way you handled a project you've invested a lot of time and effort into. They don't offer constructive feedback but instead use harsh words, even insulting your work abilities. You might feel really angry and think about sending a retaliatory message or even calling them to criticize them back. However, this would only make things more chaotic and could strain your relationship with the colleague. In this case, silence is the smart choice. Instead of reacting immediately, you can take time to reflect and not let emotions control your actions. You can decide not to reply immediately and give yourself time to calm down, or even wait until the next day to speak to your colleague more calmly and gently. By not reacting emotionally, you demonstrate maturity and self-control. When misunderstood, another situation that might happen is when you're misunderstood in a conversation. You may have said something without intending to offend anyone, but the listener interprets it completely differently and reacts angrily, even criticizing you. You might feel frustrated and rush to explain, but the more you explain, the more tense the situation becomes. In this case, silence is the way to avoid further negativity. Real example, you're in a group meeting, and while discussing an issue, you accidentally say something that someone else interprets as criticism. They immediately react angrily. Instead of quickly explaining or defending yourself, you choose to stay silent, listen to their frustration, and then calmly say, "I'm sorry if my words were misunderstood. I didn't mean to offend anyone, and I truly value your input." By remaining silent and not reacting in those tense moments, you not only keep your composure but also show maturity in handling relationships. Why silence is the smart choice. Prevents the situation from getting worse. Reacting immediately when offended will only escalate things and could lead to unnecessary conflict. Silence gives you time to assess the situation and avoid speaking in the heat of the moment. Shows composure and maturity. When you can stay silent, you demonstrate that you can control your emotions and aren't easily swayed by external factors. This helps you maintain your dignity and earn respect from others. Keeps you away from negativity. Reacting to an insult can pull you into a negative spiral, making you angrier and losing control. Silence helps you stay outside of those negative emotions, keeping your inner peace intact. Reacting immediately can make the situation worse. When you're offended or misunderstood, silence helps you take time to think and maintain your composure. Silence isn't surrender, it's a sign of maturity. By choosing not to react emotionally, you'll be appreciated for your self-restraint and for maintaining healthy relationships. Silence helps you avoid getting caught up in a negative cycle, protecting your peace and dignity. Next time you feel offended or misunderstood, remember that silence can be the most powerful weapon. It helps you stay grounded and could lead to more positive outcomes in the long run. Sometimes, Silence is the way to assert your value and inner strength. Conclusion: through these 7 moments we've explored, the art of silence is one of the essential qualities that wise individuals possess. Silence isn't weakness, it's a proactive choice to maintain dignity, protect inner peace, and make a deeper impact in difficult situations. When you know when to stay silent, you not only save your energy but also show understanding and wisdom in your interactions. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful answer you can give. So, next time you find yourself in a tricky situation, remember that silence could be the smartest choice to protect yourself and maintain good relationships. Thank you for watching this video. If you found these insights helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from these lessons. See you in the next video with more profound and interesting content. Wishing you always know when to speak and when to remain silent, to make your life more peaceful and meaningful.